It's motherfucking Monday. Back in the 90s, there was all sorts of fairy tale horror flicks. Leprechaun, Rumpelstiltskin, Jack Frost. These would generally be pretty cheesy, with gore and some random one-liners thrown in.
If you're gonna linger, I'll give you the finger.
There was also the live-action Pinocchio with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Do us all a favor and just stick to Home Improvement. That was done in 1996, the same year as Pinocchio's Revenge, which is a genre-jumping film that's hard to categorize. As a horror movie, it fails miserably. Now you might be thinking, that's because it's not a horror movie. Well, you're right, it isn't. But it was sure marketed like one.
Die!
I mean, the front cover is of a killer puppet, which makes you think it's going to be like a Chucky movie or something, so you're expecting to see a horror film. Anyway, the main problem I see is that the film just doesn't know what it's trying to accomplish. It wants to be a psychological thriller, but it's disguised as a killer doll flick. Pinocchio is played by Vern Troyer, well, at least in the couple scenes where he's walking around the streets. What, was Warwick Davis sick that day? I got an idea for a movie. How about Leprechaun versus Mini-Me? Like I said, it's not really a horror movie, it's a whodunit. The title itself makes no sense. Pinocchio's Revenge? What's he taking revenge on? Is he still pissed off that Stromboli tried to force him to work as a slave? Oops, wrong movie. Visually, this film is nothing to write home about. It desperately needed to have a creepy atmosphere, but instead, it just looks like any generic episode of Law & Order. But let's talk about the plot. An accused child murderer is in jail and his defense attorney thinks he's innocent. He says that he killed them all, but she thinks that he's lying in order to protect somebody that he loves. She's unable to convince the judge that he's innocent, and before long, he's executed by means of an electric chair. At this point, I figured it was kind of going to be like Child's Play, where a murderer inhabits a body of a doll, but that's not what happens. At the crime scene where they found the murdered children, the police find a puppet buried in the dirt. It ends up in the hands of the attorney, and eventually ends up in her car. Look at that face. Hey, you know Paul Rubens actually played Pinocchio one time? Imagine if it was him in the movie. So the mother's driving home and her housemaid Sophia calls on the phone to inform her that she was unable to obtain the doll she was supposed to buy for the daughter's birthday.
The toy store called, said there was a mix-up in his shipping and they won't have the doll till Monday.
So now the mother's got to find another gift in a hurry. Gee, I wonder where this is headed. The mother gets home and now she needs to prepare for the arrival of the other kids who are coming to the birthday party. She's a single mom that works all day as a defense attorney and then has to go home and deal with setting up a party, so she's a little stressed out. Her boyfriend, David, is there, and he tells her to take a break, and that he'll handle setting up all the party details. What a nice guy, right? But then listen to what he says.
Thanks, I owe you.
That's true. And I'm gonna collect later.
Basically, yeah bitch, I'll fix the cake, but later tonight, your pussy is my playground. Anyhow, David ends up getting the doll out of the car and gives it to Zoe. Now Zoe's not interested in that doll from the store. She wants to keep Pinocchio. She's in love with him. Now, you might be thinking, why would this mother let her daughter have a toy that was found at a crime scene? Well, she does try and take the doll away, but Zoe guilt trips her into letting her keep it.
No, first Dad had left me. Now you want to make Pinocchio leave too?
They always get what they want, don't they? At school, some girls are bullying Zoe and throw Pinocchio over a fence. Zoe rounds the corner to find him lying next to a rake. I think it would have been funnier if Pinocchio landed on top of the rake and it impaled him up the ass. So the rake handle is seen being pushed through a chain link fence and causes the bully to fall off her bike, and subsequently she's hit by a school bus. Damn, this movie's got some balls. The way the scenes are set up, it leaves it open to interpretation. The camera shots are positioned so that you'll see a weapon, and then contact, in a manner that prevents the audience from knowing who did it. After the accident at school, the adults start to believe that Zoe is trying to injure the other students. She's sent to a psychiatrist, and he leaves the room for a minute, and Pinocchio starts talking.
It wasn't me, it was you.
How do you know?
Shut up.
Did you see me?
Shut up.
If you weren't there, how can you be so sure it was me?
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up!
I think this scene was a missed opportunity. If they really wanted to depict this girl going crazy, they should have had her eat her own fingers off and then start smearing shit all over the walls. But no, all they could come up with for her to be crazy is that she talks to herself. Big deal, I see the guy at White Castle deep frying chicken rings do that all the time. Okay, now for the stuff I hated. First, there's not nearly enough kills. How many people die? Like 3 or 4? I would have liked to have seen Pinocchio kill the psychiatrist, the judge, the school teacher, the mother's co-worker, but instead we get gypped with a low body count. Like, come on. Near the end, the mother is being attacked by what we believe to be Pinocchio, and a knife goes through the door and punctures her hand. She's bleeding now and seriously injured, but she sure doesn't act like it. Do you know how much pain you'd be in if that happened? She's barely even reacting to it, like it was a bee sting. Next time I go to the grocery store, I'm gonna stab myself through the hand and then calmly ask which aisle the green tea is located, because I'm looking to relax. The ending I don't like at all. Pinocchio attacks the mother, nobody else was in the room, so now it seems confirmed that Pinocchio himself is the murderer. She throws him at a glass table, but then he transforms into Zoe. This movie just plays with your head. It's making you try to guess who the killer is, but the problem is, there's just no payoff. The questions that you have throughout are never answered. I guess they wanted to make it mysterious and leave it open to debate, but it just really drags the fun out of it. Don't put a doll holding a knife on the cover and then give us a wishy-washy ending where it's leaning towards the daughter actually being the killer. Have Pinocchio cut the mother's head off and then cut to black or something, because this ending just puts me to sleep. Here's something I don't like. How about the fact that in some parts, Pinocchio talks, but his mouth doesn't move?
No.
Then in other scenes, the mouth does move. There's no consistency.
Getting rid of David would be a good thing. The same way punishing that bitch at school was a good thing.
Throwing this movie into the trash would be a good thing.
So anyway, the DVD itself is unimpressive. There's no trailer for one thing, and that's always a pet peeve of mine. Always include the trailers. Sometimes the damn trailers are better than the movies. This would be a good movie to release on Blu-ray with some bonus features. Hearing what went through the director's mind would be nice, and we could listen to Vern Troyer talk about his glory days dressing up in a Pinocchio costume. That's something everybody needs to spend their time doing. Lastly, the biggest problem I have are the sex scenes. During one part, the mother and boyfriend are having sex in the bedroom, while the daughter listens to the whole thing, which is weird in itself. And they do everything they can to cover up the nudity. You know, like place a potted plant in front of a nipple, that kind of thing. And that would be fine, because I didn't expect to see any nudity in this movie, except later on you see Sophia, the maid, taking a shower, and not only do they explicitly show her tits, they even show her pussy. Why were they so desperate to show so much nudity after working so hard to conceal it? Well, it's a killer puppet movie, guys. You know it's gotta have that mandatory twat shot. It's just totally unnecessary. If they ever do get around to making Pinocchio's Revenge 2, they should just make Pinocchio's growing nose into a growing dick and get it out of their systems.
I'm diddly day, a night as life is gay.